everybody. Welcome again. I'm so happy to see you today, and I'm so excited. Today, we're going to talk about good tips that parents can use to connect with their teenagers. We know that there are three gaps in the system. There's the communication gap, there's the relationship gap, and generational gap. And we are here to talk about that. But who else would I be so excited to be with today? That's Coach Remi Ayodele. Please welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Ayo.
Absolutely. So for those of you that are joining for the first time or seeing me for the first time, my name is Dr. Ayodele. I'm a public health physician, and I empower you as a parent or teenager just to be the best version of yourselves and to have a fulfilled life. So I'm here today again. And by the way, if you've not subscribed before, please subscribe to this channel. If you like the content, share. It just helps everybody to know what we are doing. So please, Coach Remi, can you introduce yourself some more? Please let us get to know you.
All right. Thank you so much for having me again. I'm Remi Ayodele. I'm a mom of three amazing children, a teen, a preteen, and a young adult. I've been married to my husband for more than 21 years, and my background is in electrical engineering, and I'm a certified coach, disc trainer with the John Maxwell leadership team. I also like to advocate for intercultural communication so we can enhance our cultural intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you. That is wonderful. Oh my goodness. Engineering, life coach, mother of three. It is just so you see how we bring a good interplay of all these diverse backgrounds into who you are and how you are impacting lives. So thank you for that. And I have a lot of questions for you today, sincerely. I would ask that what was your motivation for starting Next Generation Empowerment? Because I know that's something that is passionate to your heart. Was the motivation? How did it come about?
So I have three different motivations. The first one actually are my children. You know, when I had my children, nobody handed me a manual and say, here you go, this is how to operate this parenting. So I had to read. I built my library out based on personal growth through parenting and other areas of life. The other motivation is reflecting on my teenage years. I remember arriving in college at age 16. I made lots of friends. In my second year when I returned, I couldn't find my friends because they had developed other interests, including casual dating and other things. So, I just joined the Sisters Fellowship and was part of the leadership team. And so we would offer godly principles for solving problems that young ladies face. So I figure out if we can equip our children while they're home with these self-leadership skills, when they gain independence, they will not throw it away so easily with peer pressure and things like that. And then my third motivation is to speak up for the girl child so that our girls can dream big and fulfill their own aspirations in life as they navigate all the areas of motherhood, marriage, multiculturalism, and money so that they can truly thrive. And especially the girls that decide to go into the STEM field to help them to navigate the gender disparities. As someone who is an engineer, I quite understand what it means to be in a male-dominated environment. Yeah. So those are my major motivations.
Oh God, those are fantastic, great motivation. Our children, your experience, and again, your career, being able to put that girl, that boy in a place where they can thrive. So thank you for that. So the question is, what obstacles do you feel are the highest that parents encounter with their children? Can you just talk to us about it from your experience, from the people you've dealt with? What are the top three challenges that if it's solved for this parent, they'll be like, yay, hallelujah.
Amen. All right. So, when it comes to these challenges, I learned it through my experience and through some research. Yeah. And I see that I'm not alone. Mm-hmm. So the first one is developmental. And the second one I would say is generational. And the third one would be cultural. I'll explain in details. So You're a medical doctor. You know that the prefrontal cortex is not developed until later in life, beyond teenage years. That's the part of the brain that is responsible for decision making and future planning.
Yeah.
So that developmental stage, our teenagers are not quite ready to grapple with what this thing would affect me in the future. So that is why we have to come in and be their coach and guide them towards that. So if we don't understand that, we'll be like, why can't you do better? But they could, but their brain is not helping them to do as much better. The second obstacle would be that one of the generational gap. You and I, if we have preteens or teenagers, you're probably a Gen X. So you were born between 1964 and 1982. And definitely our children are Gen Zers.
Now
They
I
are
feel
born
old.
between the year 2001 to 2013.
Yeah.
So those are two different planets, as you can see. And
True.
so these barriers of this generation comes in. If we do not understand it, we'll constantly have conflict. And then when it comes to the cultural, someone might say, well, it's my child. We have the same culture. No, I beg to explain to you, these teenagers are in a different culture altogether. Before, it used to be that families are the major influence for youth or children, but it's no longer the same today with the change and increase in divorce rate, blended families, grandparents living so far away from their families. So there's no generation passing down culture as much. And also with the advent of the internet, we have all these cultures seeping right through our screens and influencing our children. So whether you're an immigrant or a non-immigrant, you're raising a third culture child. That's the concept that is research that proves that children are no longer part of their family's culture, neither are they part of the society's culture, but instead they're a mix of their own experiences. So that gives us that gap in communication that could result in conflict if we don't understand them well.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness. You've broken it down so well. And everybody, you just have to make sure that you grab this and put it to the foot because your child really is being modeled and formed by different factors. You know, the home is the first one, then you have the school, the community, and then you have the government. Before it was mainly the home. And I like the way you mentioned that before we had our grandparents or our own parents that would pass down some of those cultures, this learning, these values to them. Now we all live so far away.
Yes,
and then the child is being impacted more by even external factors than in. And everybody is just perplexed. What can I do? My own values are no longer what the child is holding on to. There are so many values now across board. Thank you so much. And definitely developmental. They first develop the emotional part before the logical part. And someone has said, right now, we are the frontal lobe of our children because they can't make those rational logical decisions yet. They make decisions based on emotions, and that's actually something that we need to help them with so that they can really be successful in their lives. Thank you so much. This is so good. So, what would you say parents can do? We've mentioned developmental gaps, we've mentioned generational gap, we've mentioned cultural gap. Generational in the sense that we and our children are, of course, generations apart. And my children were just making fun of me, with some of their words and the coding. And my son sent me something like UWV, whatever. I was like, you guys, what does this mean? Because I'm like, how can you just type, different letters and feel as if I would understand it? And they were just laughing at me. So what can parents do? How can we support our children during this time of development that they need us the most? Because it's really a critical part of their lives that shapes them, in the adult they become. How can we solve this generational gap that we can be closer to our children and still be parents with them? How can we help them to develop values, that is very integral in building their lives and our culture? Can you speak to this, please?
Yes, and I would read something to you.
Yes.
So, Tim Elmore, in his book, A New Kind of Diversity, he said, the older generation may increasingly feel like they're interacting with foreigners as they communicate with their Gen Zers. The language, the custom, the values embraced by the Gen Zers may be so different from what we're used to finding, so that we need to find common ground, and that becomes very difficult. Therefore, it is crucial to establish that common ground so we can transcend the generational gap and communicate effectively with our teenagers.
Wow.
So for me, as a certified consultant in the DISC method of human behavior, this is what I will propose, because the DISC method of human behavior gives us a shared language between parents, educators, and other adults. It also levels the playing field so that we can talk about things that are important to us in a very respectful manner. And I would like to kind of go technical on you for a little bit.
Please do.
So I'm going to talk about the DISC, the DISC, so we can kind of understand this is a new language we need to learn and teach our children so we can have this level playing field and a single language that transcends generation, cultural, and developmental barriers. So the D personality style, they are dominant for a good cause. They excel at organization, they are decisive, they aim at completing tasks promptly. To motivate them, offer them leadership skills and recognize them, because they don't want you to take advantage of them. So they don't want to lose control. So that's for the dominance. The I personality, they are the influencing style. They make friends easily, but they need structure so they can stay on task. Recognize their positive actions, provide chances for them to express their thoughts, because they've got to talk.
Yeah.
Listen to them, because one of their biggest fear is not being appreciated or accepted. The S style is the steady style. They're known for their steadiness, their helpful nature, and their need for encouragement. Empower their desire. Ensure they have necessary support for success. Their greatest fear is losing security. When it comes to the C personality, the compliant style, they are deep thinkers. They seek perfection and may take time to respond due to their analytic nature. Encourage them that imperfections is part of growing up, but they should focus on excellence. Motivate them by allowing them to ask questions. Don't criticize them unless it's really a helpful one, because their greatest fear is fear of failure or being judged. So when we understand this personality, we can know who that child is, who we are, so we can relate on that common ground and communicate with them.
Oh my goodness, this is beautiful. The common ground without understanding your child, their personality style, their affects, their reactions, or the way they would react, or what would even motivate them. They will just say, Mom, you don't get me, you don't understand me.
Yeah.
But when you understand their personality style, what you can leverage in what they do, you are more likely to be able to speak to them. You're more likely to be able to teach them, because people would listen and learn from the people that they like. And then there'll be less clashes, I like the fact that you spoke about the dominant people, that they are the leaders, they want to get things right, they want to know that they are right. And it's not every time that is a teaching moment for those people. Recognizing who they are is so important. And these are the people that you clash with. I have a daughter that is a D, While the ones that are I, when you do something wrong, they'll be like, oh, Mommy, my bad, I'm sorry. And then you just move on. The D will be like, no. And she will argue on that thing, and then she gets more punishment, and then she feel as if, how come I'm getting more punished than the other children? And then she'll be like, oh, there's favoritism, they don't love me, they don't like me, and so I like the way you've broken it down. So parents, I hope you wrote things down. When you understand who your child is, and if you're a teenager and you're listening, you'll be able to help your child, be able to connect with your child, be able to communicate well with your child. We are not saying that you should have permissive parenting, but in being a parent, an effective parent that communicates well, you need to understand who your child is. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, So, what are the practical ways in which parents can actually communicate and do things with their children that makes them feel connected and have lifelong influences? What are the practical things they need to do? So we've spoken about
Okay.
finding a common ground, knowing your child, any other thing.
So I would tell you a story. This mom has an influencing daughter. She came to me after the fact. Her daughter had done something to violate some of her social rules in the house, and there was clashes. So that is when she came to me. And we were able to go through this DISC assessment for her and for her daughter through my coaching program. And she found out that what? Because the greatest fear of an influencing child is lack of social environment. And that was the consequence she gave her daughter. And so she discovered she was putting in more fear than actually helping. So that is why it is so vital that we actually know this child. And so also, and sometimes we might think it's flimsy, but my son has this eye influencing too. One day he earned recess in school. They've been waiting and looking forward to it. And he happened to have a dental appointment on the same day. And he begged me and said, Mom, I can't miss this recess. I earned it. So this understanding helped me to just relax and just call the dentist, reschedule it. He was able to enjoy. But if I didn't know that, I would like, no, we're going.
Yeah.
But knowing
Yeah.
it help us to
Yeah.
help them thrive and not do a cookie cutter method with every child. And talking of leadership, every child's personality is a leader. Because if you want to lead a party successfully, you need the influencing child to take the lead for that occasion. If you want to lead a mediation situation, you need that S, the steady style to do it. If you want to fly a plane successfully and calculate that math, you need your C compliance child to be the leader of that team. So it's not just the dominants that show up that are leaders, but everybody needs to lead with their own unique skill so that it will be successful. So the practical way is first, listen actively. Secondly, acknowledge their feelings and praise good behavior. And thirdly, spend quality time with them. They need us more than we know. So when it comes to listening, there's always something behind what they say. It's beyond words. So listen with ears and with heart so we can show empathy and build trust. So someone said, why do I need to build trust with my child? You need to do what I said. Honestly, parents, because I said so is not an answer for a teenager. I was at a family conference 2 weeks ago and we had a teen panel and we were asking him, how can we support you as parents? And that's one of the answers. Because I said so didn't answer my question. I need you to help me make this decision. So we need to reason with them because we're transferring self-leadership skills when they can go through the thinking process, the decision-making process with us. When it comes to acknowledging their feelings and praising good behavior, most times parents just snap at children when they do something wrong. Why don't we catch them doing something right as well? And then acknowledge the feelings and offer praise. As like a good medical doctor, you want someone to listen to you first before they give you medicine. So we want to listen to our children, process it before we start giving out advice or consequences, as a matter of fact. And spending quality time is essential. I know we're so busy, and the old adage, more is caught than taught. It doesn't work for today because parents are gone, children are gone. They will not catch anything unless we deliberately teach it. So it's teaching time, not catching time right now. So how do we teach them? You have to find, again, what is the personality of this child? What do they enjoy? My older daughter, she likes to take a walk. So we go walk and talk. My younger daughter, she found a TV show she likes. So I'll go in and watch a little clip, then I'll ask her what happened later. So she gets talking. My son likes basketball. So when he's watching, and I go in there, he's like, Mom, don't cheer, because I always say, may the best player win. He said, Mom, you should root for my team. So I quickly leave. So finding what each child enjoys and stepping into that window is the key to connecting with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I just love that. I love that. These are really practical things that you've mentioned. Parents, please listen. Listen to your kids because when you listen, don't forget that the emotional part of their brain is the most developed part. When you listen to them, they feel heard, they feel loved. They equate listening, being heard to being loved. So please listen. Acknowledge when they do something right. Because when you do something right in our hearts, we're like, okay, this is going on well. And when you do something wrong, we speak. They want to hear when they do something right, and they want to hear when they do something wrong, but correcting in a loving manner. I like the fact that you said spend time with them because that's when you build that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And spend time without judging or criticizing. I would own up. Sometimes my daughter is watching something, and that's when I'll be like, oh, this is just a movie. Like, mom, we just came, why are you criticizing? I would have said what was going to happen about it. But I like the fact that you just be in the moment, enjoy it, listen, and let them speak about it because they want to talk, they want to be heard. They want to be able to share something new with you, that they love, and it's very important to them. Oh God, this has just been very, very nice. And one of the things you mentioned is that you're a disc consultant. I mean, you help parents to discover the personality of their children and they themselves that they can connect. Can you talk more about that? How can people reach out to you? They're like, oh, I need this in my life. I need to connect with my children. I need to understand them more. I need to be able to listen to them. And even after listening, how can I spend time with them based on their personality? So what do you say? How can parents just reach out to you if they feel they reach out to you for this?
Well, thank you. Yes. So you can reach me on my platform, nextgenerationempowerment.com. So that is where I partner with parents and organizations to inspire, to equip, and empower teenagers towards excellence in life, in learning, and in leadership. So, and because of the cultural variety that we have in this community, I also look through the cultural lens so we can be sure that we are equipping our children to be global citizens and relate across different cultures.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody, I'm going to put that link in the description so you can go there and just grab it. You can't miss this. Many a times we parents say we want our children to be happy, we want them to be healthy, we want to be at peace, we want them to be successful. You can't achieve all this except you are self-aware of where you are now, where you want to go. So please ensure that you reach out to Coach Remi. She's awesome. She's fantastic. We are both in the John Maxwell leadership team. And that's why we connect so much because we have equal values. So thank you everybody for listening. If you haven't yet, subscribe, share, put in your comments. What has been the greatest challenges you are having? What is your own style? What is your children's style? And remember to subscribe and share with others. So thank you. See you next time. See you next week. And God bless you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.